Hi everyone and welcome back. We're on page EX19 of the Shelley Cashman series, Microsoft Office 365, Excel 2016 Intermediate. And we're working our way through the tutorials, starting with step 1 on page EX19. Step 1. Select cell B19. Step 2. Drag the fill handle to select the destination area. Range C19 to N19, which draws a shaded border around the source area and the destination area. Release the mouse button to copy the simple formula function from the active cell to the destination area and calculate the results. Step 3. Save the worksheet on your hard drive, OneDrive, or other storage location using Linda Fox Budget as the file name. So from here, you can just go File, Save As, and I'll just go to my OneDrive, and we can type in the name that we want to give to the file, which is Linda Fox Budget. And then click Save. Okay. And I'll just click Got It up here. Formatting the worksheet. This is on page EX19. And the tutorial, it looks like, starts on page EX21. To change a cell style. Step 1. Click cell A1 to make A1 the active cell. Click the Cell Styles button in the Home tab in the Styles group to display the Cell Styles gallery. Step 2. Point to the title cell in the Titles and Headings area of the Cell Styles gallery to see a live preview of the cell style in the active cell. Step 3. Click the title cell style to apply the cell style to the active cell. To change the font, moving on to page EX23, Step 1. Click cell A2 to make it the active cell. Click the Font arrow in the Home tab in the Font group to display the font gallery. If necessary, scroll to Calibri Light. By the font arrow, they just mean this right here. Point to Calibri Light in the font gallery to see a live preview of the selected font in the active cell. And you can experiment by pointing to other fonts in the font gallery to see a live preview of them. But it only applies to the selected cell. And then step 2, click Calibri Light in the font gallery to change the font of the worksheet subtitle to Calibri Light. You might notice there are other ways on page EX23, and on some of the pages there are alternate approaches. Those are fine too. I encourage you to experiment with them and try out a few things and see what works. Page EX23. To apply bold style to a cell. Step 1 on page EX24. Click cell A1 to make it active, and then click the Bold button in the Home tab in the Font group to change the font style of the active cell to bold. 2. Repeat step 1 to bold cell A2. Page EX24 to increase the font size of a cell entry. Step 1. With cell A2 selected, click the font size arrow in the Home tab in the font group to display the font size gallery. Point to 14 in the font size gallery to see a live preview of the active cell with the selected font size. Experiment if you're using a mouse, point to several other font sizes in the font size list to see a live preview of those font sizes in the selected cell. On page 25, page EX25, moving on, step 1, click 14 in the font size gallery to change the font size in the active cell. Page EX25 to change the font color of a cell entry. Step 1. Click cell A1 and then click the font color arrow in the Home tab in the font group to display the font color gallery. The symbol's a capital A with like a little underline. Point to orange accent 2, column 6, row 1. In the theme colors area of the font color gallery to see a live preview of the font color in the active cell. And you can experiment by, poking around with this palette here, and then once you're ready to move on to step 2 on page EX26, go ahead and click orange accent 2, column 6, row 1 in the font color gallery to change the font color of the worksheet title in the active cell. Okay, step 3 on page EX26. Click the font color button to apply orange accent 2, column 6, row 1 to cell A2. So with cell A2 selected, let's just go into the Home tab, and now let's just click this font color button. Moving on to page EX27, step 2. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped a step. Page EX26, step 1. Under to center cell entries across columns by merging cells. Step 1, select cell A1 and then drag N1 to highlight the range to be merged and centered. And that range is A1 to N1. Step 2 on page EX27. Click the Merge and Center button in the Home tab in the Alignment group to merge cells A1 through N1 and center the contents of the leftmost cell, that's A1, across the selected columns. There we go. Step 3, Repeat steps 1 and 2 to merge and center the worksheet subtitle across cells A2 through N2. So I'm not sure what really happened the first couple times in that last step, so we can go ahead and give it another try here in step 3. We want to do the same thing for cells A2 through N2. So I'll just go ahead and select cell starting in A2. And then what I like to do is hold down the Shift key and then go over to cell N2 and just click that, and that'll select the whole range from A2 to N2. And then in the Home tab, go ahead and click Merge and Center. Okay. So now our worksheet looks like this. You can see an example on page EX27. Let's go ahead and move on page EX27 to this section here to format rows using cell styles. And on the following page, page EX28, step 1. Click cell A3 and then drag cell N3 to select the range. Drag to cell N3 to select the range. So with A3 selected, go ahead and just you can hover right over the center of the cell and then just click down and drag your cursor all the way over to cell N3 and then let go of the cursor. That'll select that whole range from A3 to N3. And from here, we want to click the Cell Styles button. This is in the Home tab in the Styles group to display the Cell Styles gallery. Point to Heading 1, Cell Style, in the Titles and Headings area of the Cell Styles gallery to see a live preview of the cell style in the selected range. And as an experiment, you can point to some other cell styles to see what they look like as well. Step 2. Click the Heading 1 cell style to apply the cell style to the selected range. Click the Center button in the Home tab in the Alignment group to center the column headings in the selected range. Select the range A8 to N8, and you could do that any way you like. I'll do it by clicking cell A8, and then with the Shift key held down, I'll go ahead and click cell N8. That's a good way to select an adjacent range of cells. So that was with A8 selected, holding down the Shift key and then clicking N8. I think my aim was off last time. Okay, and then let's go ahead and move on to page EX29, step 3. So with that range selected, go ahead and apply Heading 1, the Heading 1 cell style format, and then center the headings. Page EX29, step 4. Format the range A6 to N6 and A17 to N17 with the total cell style format. So we could do it step by step by starting with A6 to N6. And selecting those cells. And we can go ahead and give them the total cell style format. And then we can do the same thing for cells A17 to N17. So from A17 to N17, cell styles total. We could have also selected both ranges by selecting the first range, A6 to N6, and then with the control key held down, you can select the a non-adjacent range of cells. And then we would do the exact same thing. It's already applied here, but we can apply it again, the total cell style. Okay. Next up, we're working on applying these formats. Let's format the range A19 to N19 with the accent 2 cell style format. So that's A19 to N19. I'll just click A19, and with the Shift key held down, I'll click cell N19. And then from the Home tab, let's apply from the Cell Styles group accent 2. Next up, format the range A4 to N4, A9 to N9, A11 to N11, A13 to N13, and A15 to N15 with the 20% accent 2 cell style format. So this would be a great time to select multiple non-adjacent ranges. So from A4 to N4, A4 to N4, A9 to N9. So remember now I'm holding down the control key to select non-adjacent ranges of cells. With the control key held down, I'll just go ahead and hover all the way from A9 to N9. And then A11 to N11. A13 to N13. And A15 to N15. Did we get them all? 4, 9, 11, 13, 15. Okay. So we want to apply the accent 2 cell style format to all of these as well. So that'd be fine if you did these individually, or you can select the multiple non-adjacent ranges using the control key. Either way is fine. Over in the here where we have all the cell styles, let's go ahead and select accent 2 again. Okay. And then next up, let's format the range A5 to N5, A10 to N10, A12 to N12, A14 to N14, A16 to N16 with the 40% accent 2 cell style format, deselect the selected ranges. So this is a great actually time to go back, because with the previous steps ranges still selected, it looks like we were supposed to apply a 20% accent 2 cell style to this format. So that's fine with the cells still selected, or sorry, if you deselected them already, go ahead and let's apply under cell styles. It's the 20% accent 2. It's in the same column, but it's just different shade. Okay. And then let's go ahead and format the range A5 to N5. Sorry, I think I just said this one. A10 to N10, A12 to N12, A14 to N14, and A16 to N16. So here we go. Be sure to get all these ones. A5 to N5. A5 to N5. A10 to N10. So I just did that by holding down the control key. I don't know why it seems to take 2 times, but anyway, with the control key held down, let's go ahead and get that second range in there. And then A12 to N12, our third range here. A14 to N14. So with the control key held down, just selecting that range, and then the last range with the control key still held down, A16 to N16. And let's apply the 40% accent to cell style format. I think it's looking pretty good. Deselect the selected ranges. You can just click any cell to do that. And then on page EX29 at the bottom, to format numbers in the worksheet. So step 1 is on page EX30. Step 1, select the range B4 to N4. I'll just select cell B4, and then with the Shift key held down, I'll click cell N4. Click on the Accounting Number Format button in the Home tab in the Number group to apply the accounting number format to the cells in the selected range. So in the Home tab in the Number group, there are a bunch of different number formats, so Excel treats values in different ways. It can think of numbers as percentages or as dollar values, and the accounting number format is a way of treating numbers where every number has a dollar sign and it goes out to 2 decimal places like we expect, with money. And negative values are surrounded with parentheses in accounting format. And let's go ahead and apply that format now to see what it looks like. So if you hover over the dollar sign in the number format group, we can see this is the accounting number format. So let's go ahead and apply that format to the range we've selected. Next up, select the range B5 to N5. Here we're gonna, in step 2, on page EX30, click the comma style button in the Home tab in the Number group to apply the comma style format to the selected range. What effect does the comma style format have on the selected cells? The comma style format formats numbers to have 2 decimal places and commas as thousand separators, but you might notice there's one difference with the comma style and the accounting number format. Looks like the comma style doesn't show a dollar sign. Now let's select the range B6 to N6 to make it the active range. Step 3 on page EX30. Click the Accounting Number Format button in the Home tab in the Number group to apply the accounting number format to the cells in the selected range. Moving on to page EX31, Step 4. Format the ranges B9 to N9, B17 to N17, and B19 to N19 with the accounting number format. Format the range B10 to N16 with the comma style format. Click cell A1 to deselect the selected ranges. How do I select the range B10 to N6? You could select B10 and with the Shift key held down, click N16. Or to select from B10 to N16, you can select this range the same way as you would select a range of cells in a column or row. That is, click the first cell in the range, B10 in this case, and drag the last cell in the range to the last cell in the range, N16 in this case. Okay, next up on page EX31, to adjust the column width. Step 1. Point to the boundary on the right side of the column A heading above row 1 to change the pointer to a split double arrow. Double-click the boundary to adjust the column or the width of the column to accommodate the width of the longest item in the column. Repeat steps 1 and 2 to adjust the column width of columns B through N. Page EX32, step 1, under to use the name box to select a cell. The name box is this little text area up in the upper left. If you want to select a cell using the name box, you can just type in the cell, a reference to the cell right here. So for example, if we wanted to select cell F8, just type it in the name box and click enter, and now we see that cell F8 is automatically selected. Pretty handy tool. You can even select a range from the name box. If we wanted to select cells A8 all the way to N17, we can just type in A8 and then a colon N17 in the name box and hit enter. Enter, and that whole range is selected. Step 1. On page EX32, to use the name box to select a cell. Click the name box in the formula bar and then type A3 as the cell you want to select. By the way, uppercase or lowercase, it's not important for a cell reference. So we can type in A3. Either way is fine. And then on page EX33, step 2, press the enter key to change the active cell in the name box and make cell A3 the active cell. So you can see that again. Replacing whatever's in the name box with A3 and then enter. In your book, there's a table on other ways to select cells on page EX33. And let's go ahead and take a break. Let's be sure to save this file as Linda Fox Budget, and then we can exit Excel and pick back up in a little bit. So to save this, if you save it to OneDrive, the autosave might be on, in which case there's no need to do anything. You can just see that it's saved up here. Otherwise, just simply click File, Save.